Hello, my name is Mark. Welcome to my shop. This is a discussion, a maintenance video on trailer hitches. This is a video that I've been wanting to do for quite a while, but I've been putting it off. Lately on the forums that I read through, I'm seeing a lot of questions about trailer hitches, about maintenance of those trailer hitches, and I'm seeing a lot of responses that are just flat wrong. A trailer hitch, this hitch, your hitch, is a mission critical device. Mission critical. If it fails, you are in a lot of trouble. If this ball were to come loose, or pins would come out, if something breaks down, if it comes, hopefully your chains would keep your trailer attached, but ugly. So we're going to talk about, I'm now going to do that video, and we're going to talk about what this is about and how to maintain it in a factual manner, hopefully to help dispel some of the myths that are going on out there and to help you decide what you should be doing with your trailer hitch. Now, I know I can't stop all the false information on the internet, but what I can do is I can give you factual stuff, and you will get to choose what's factual and what's fake. And the fake stuff, hopefully you'll be able to tell the difference between the two. So we're going to go over what the hitch is, what the hitch components are, how to maintain it. In general, we're going to start with a little bit of history. Hitches, if you look on the internet, come in three flavors: Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3. Class 1 hitch, according to the specs, it can handle a 2,000-pound trailer with a 200-pound tongue weight. A Class 2 hitch can handle a 3,500-pound trailer with a 525-pound tongue weight. And a Class 3 hitch can handle an 8,000-pound trailer with 800-pound tongue weight. Now, that being said, that's not the whole story. Just because you have a Class 2 hitch doesn't mean that it can carry 3,500-pound trailer. Just because you have a Class 3 hitch doesn't mean it can carry an 8,000-pound trailer. Why? Because there's different components in here. So let's take this apart. You recognize that? That's the pin, and that's the clip. That's what basically holds this thing in. The ball mount pulls out. This is the ball mount, this is the receiver. Now, Class 1 and Class 2 hitches come with a receiver that is 1 1/4 inch wide. Mine's 2. So what does that tell you about this hitch? This is a Class 3 hitch, because Class 3 hitches are 2 inches wide, and a Class 1 and Class 2 are 1 1/4 inch wide. So this is a Class 3 hitch. Can I carry an 8,000-pound trailer with this Class 3 hitch? No. 1, because my truck is not capable of it, and 2, the rest of the components here are not capable of it. What do I mean? Let's take a look. Let's look at this ball. Look at that ball. If you can see on the bottom of that, that ball is rated to 6,000 pounds. Not 8, 6,000. If you can read, I know that you can't read it, but there's a bunch of writing here. See that ball mount? That ball mount says it can carry 6,000 pounds. So you could see that if I put an 8,000-pound receiver on my truck with only a 6,000 pound ball mount and a 6,000 pound ball, I couldn't carry an 8,000 pound trailer. So what I've got here is I've got a class 3 hitch connected to my trailer with a 6,000 pound ball mount and a 6,000 pound ball. Those are numbers that I chose to meet my requirements, right? Here is another ball from another vehicle that I owned a while back. And if you look at it, it's 3,500 pounds, right? So this is from a class 2 hitch, right? This is 3,500 pounds, that's 6,000 pounds. This guy belongs on a class 2 hitch. This guy belongs on a class 3 hitch. If I mounted this hitch on that ball mount, if I mounted this ball on that ball mount, just like the weakest link in a chain, I could only carry a 3,500 pound trailer. So my ball, 6,000 pounds. My ball mount is 6,000 pounds. My receiver is 8,000 pounds. Class 3 receiver with, I don't know what you'd call that, class 2.5 ball mount and ball. But you understand that all of these pieces need to be rated together, right? Because the thing here is just like the weakest link in a chain. If I've got an 8,000 pound receiver and a 2,000 pound ball, I can't carry an 8,000 pound trailer. So that being said, let's get to it. Let's get to the meat of this thing and why you're here. First things first, this pin and this clip. Some of you have locking pins, you know, locks on the end of this. Some of you have ones that look just like this, where the pin slides over and the clip slides right over it. And some of you have a hole in there where it goes in. Even this needs to be talked about. These pins can wear out. They can get this spring steel, and it can lose its spring to where after it's been on and off and on and off many times, this can get loose. Well, what happens, right? You're bumping on down the road and oops, that pin falls out because it's loose. This guy vibrates out and there goes your trailer, folks. So inspect this, periodically inspect it. Take it apart, look at it. Is that still tight? See how tight that is? When I pull that, that's hard to pull out. I don't worry about that coming off. Let's take a look at the ball mount. Now, it's generally not rusted. I've got a little bit of surface rust here, and that's to be expected. Generally not rusted. No big deal. These ball mounts come in different drops. This is the drop necessary so that when my trailer is being towed, it's being towed level. It's not tongue down, it's not tongue up, it's level. These come in different, what are called drops or rises to make your trailer tow level when it's mounted on your truck. So let's talk a little bit about maintenance on this guy. There's a big debate about whether you grease this, you oil it, you lube it, you run it dry. Lots of bad information out there. Here's the facts. This hitch, or this ball, is made out of hardened carbon steel, not mild steel. It's made out of carbon steel. That's how this one nut can hold 6,000 pounds. I mean, think about the kind of hanging and think about the weight and the torque and the hits that this is taking, the twisting and the grinding. I mean, this is really a tough piece of steel. However, the trailer part, the coupler that goes on top of this piece, you know, that mounts, that is mild steel. This is hard carbon steel. So if we've got steel on steel, dry steel on steel, and we start grinding on it and wetting on it, what's going to wear out? The mild steel is going to wear out before the hard steel goes. So what's happening here is if I don't lube that, and this thing's grinding just in grit, and it's just, you're wearing out your trailer. You're going to see that your ball looks okay, but it's your, it's the the actual mechanisms underneath the coupler that's going to give you trouble. This is what's wearing out. This part, my left hand is wearing out, not that ball. And that's what's fooling people. They say, look, and they say, hey, that looks great. But when you've got actually horrible stuff going on. So this is what you do. In order to, the last thing that you want to do is you do not want to have dry steel on dry steel friction contact. That's a bad thing. That's why oils and greases and lubes, that's why they were created, to prevent that, because that's horrible. That wears everything out. It's bad. Don't do that. You need to lube this. Now, the question is, what kind of lube do you put on it? Well, you could goop your hand up in all kinds of goop, and you could put all kinds of weird grease on there. And the problem is road grit is going to get in that grease, and it's going to give you trouble. You know, that's the nature of it. There is on the market greases and oils. Some of them are spray, some of them are solid, but they are intended for this job. Let's talk about this job. It has to be, number one, waterproof, right? A lot of water coming up here. Number two, it's got to be so that it doesn't collect a bunch of grit, right? Number three, it's got to take a lot of weight, right? Think about that, 6,000 pounds on this guy. It's got to take a lot of weight. So there are lots of greases and oils. Some of them are spray, some of them are grease. I happen to have a little grease, and it's made for this job, and it looks like that. This is blue. It happens to have lithium in it, but I am not going to wipe that on there and leave it. Why? Because it's going to bring grit up here. What we're going to do, I'm going to take just a little bit, and we're going to put on that ball, just like that. Then we're going to take an old t-shirt and we're going to wipe it around. All over, top, bottom, all over. Now, that's got a nice coating of that on it. Not enough to collect goop, not enough to collect grit, just a coating. And what that does is that prevents the steel on steel contact that's going to wear out my coupler. All right. Now look at this ball. This ball has thousands and thousands and thousands of miles on it. Thousands of miles. This is the same ball that I've had for years on many different trucks, and it is in absolute great shape. There is no rust. The chrome is still in place on this. This is how I've been maintaining this for a decade or so. You just don't get rust if it's covered in oil or grease. Now, here's the deal. This is a ball cover. You need a ball cover. So again, I take just a little bit of that grease and I wipe it inside the ball cover, and then I wipe it out. So I have a little coating of that grease in there, a little coating on that. Watch this. That's like an airtight seal. Pulls on, goes on. That's how I travel with this guy. It's not going to get rusty because it's not going to get wet in that situation. Now, every time, let me put this pin back in so this is easier for me to do. Every time, this is how you're going to maintain this. You're going to, if I can get one thing into you, when I take this cover off, take the cover off, I lube my ball. I put my trailer on it. I take my trailer off. I lube my ball. I put my cover on. I lube my ball. Anytime you take something off or put something on there, lube it. Right? Every time. Every time. Keep an old t-shirt with you, and every time you take your trailer off or put your trailer on, lube that ball. Ball should never be open to the elements. Put a cover on it. Just that simple. Yes, you do need lubrication on that, because you do not want dry steel to dry steel contact, because your trailer coupler is not going to stand up. you want a good lubrication. You don't want a lot of lubrication. You just want a film. And the grease that you use needs to be high temperature, high pressure, and waterproof. Get some stuff that's online. It comes in droppers, it comes in sprays, it comes in a can like mine does. I don't care what you use, but use stuff that's intended for it, and you do want to lube it. Not doing that can get you in a large amount of trouble. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to go over to the trailer, and I'm going to show you how you lube up your coupler. That's also important. Now, all couplers on all trailers are all different. Depending on your year and your model, they're all different. So I can't give you specifics for your trailer unless your trailer happens to be a 2015 Tab Max S like mine is. Other than that, you're going to have to just see what I'm doing and apply what I'm doing to your trailer. So let's go over there and take a look. Okay, this is the coupler from my Tab 2015 Max S trailer. It's one style of many styles. This one works like that. You can see their little pins here. Lift this up, and it goes back and forth. What is that doing? Well, here's that spare ball that I've got. Let's open this up. See that ball goes in the bottom? That's trapped. And what's happening here is there's a pin here. And if you look, see how when this comes forward and back, see how that pin is traveling forward and backward? See that? That pin is trapping itself here, right? That's what it's doing. When I pull this forward, it pulls that pin and locks that guy in. Well, this needs lubrication in the same way that my hitch needs lubrication, but it needs lubrication up in here. It needs lubrication on that pin in the back, and it needs lubrication here. So, just like before, I'm going to take just a little bit, not much, just enough. And I'm going to wipe it around, all around the surface inside there, including that pin. Wipe it all around in there. Not a lot, just a little bit. And especially on that pin back there. Okay? Then I'm going to take my used t-shirt and I'll wipe it down. Now, what I've got in there is a nice coating of waterproof grease and no grit. So when I put this coupler in here, see how easy that comes in and out? I mean, that's nice. And see how that's moving? And it's nice and smooth. Every time you take your trailer off and you put it away, you're going to lube it up. Every time. Every time you take it off, you're going to lube it. Every time you put it on, you're going to lube it. You're going to do that. Anytime that you come in contact with this coupler, you want to do that. Now, on this particular coupler, there's two other places that need lubrication. When I push this back, see these wear surfaces? They need a little bit of lubrication. Not much. Same deal. Put it on, wipe it off. Just put on enough all around here and underneath where it's making contact. Same deal. Put it on and wipe it off. What we're looking for is just a film. See how nice that operates? Look at that. Really, really slick. So that's the deal. That's your maintenance. I'm hearing all kinds of stuff about rust on these balls. The reason you're getting rust is because you've got exposed steel. You keep a coating of lubrication on here and they won't rust. Too much is too much, but just enough is just right. I'm hearing people about taking sandpaper to this. Don't do that. The fitting here, see, that's not loose. You don't hear it. You don't hear any clinking or clanking. I'm pulling up and down. That's not loose. That's a pretty tight connection. If this starts rusting up and I start sanding it, it's going to shrink. And this fitting is going to get looser and looser and looser. It's going to allow more and more grit in there. And pretty soon you're going to have a problem. Just keep them lubricated with the right amount of lubrication, the right type of lubrication, and lubricate it regularly. Every time you take your trailer off, because it's going to be in storage and rain's going to be out here, right? So this is lubed up with a waterproof grease. I'm not going to have any problem with rust. This thing is years and years old. Years old. This is a 2015 trailer, and I got no rust on there. Why is that? It's because I've been following these procedures. So, lube it when it's going to be in storage so it doesn't rust from rain. Lube it before you put it in service when you hook it up so that it doesn't grind itself to pieces out there. So I'm going to let you go. If you've got questions at all about any of this, leave them in the comments. This is mission critical, folks. Be careful what you're listening to, because a lot of it will get you hurt. Take care. See you on the road. Drive safe.